this morning's cup of tea is from my new giant metal coffee teacup tankard thing from Amazon. Very pleased with that. Keeps my tea longer warm. What am I waffling about? You're not here to listen about tea. You're here to learn about recompiling programs for the Valence after an upgrade. Now, if you're familiar with using PDM to create user-defined options to compile en masse, don't bother watching this video. That's all I'm going to show you. This is really for newbies, freshers, beginners in the world of IBM I. So we've just upgraded Valence to the new version. Part of the upgrade instructions were, hey, we've changed our copybooks within Valence. Probably some variables have changed size, etc. So you need to recompile your code. So that's what we're going to do. If you're not aware, whenever you write an exit point program for Valence, so for example on an edit grid, you want to call a program to validate the values in the edit grid, right? That RPG program that you call on the IBM I side is built using a copybook from Valence, so it sucks in all of the data areas, data structures, sub-procedures from Valence to do JSON validation and all that stuff. And essentially that doesn't work after you upgrade to the new version because some of these sizes have changed. So here we are in Valence. At the moment I'm running, how can I see the version number? I'm running version 6.02 dated April 21st of 2021. So if you're on this version, 6.02.02.104.21.2, catchily titled, then you'll want to recompile all of your code before you run anything because it just won't work. So I'm going to show you how to do that in green screen. I'm waffling. Stop waffling, Nicholas. So let's log on through green screen. Or, of course, we could use, within Valence itself, we could use the Valence Fusion 5250 to log on and do the same thing. But I like my white background green screen. I shouldn't really call it a green screen. I should call it white screen. So what are we doing? Right, so we're going to start PDM. So the first thing we want to do when we sign on, this is what we're going to do, is we're going to create a user-defined option to recompile all of our code en masse straight into the library. Now, if you're using a change management application like Turnover or Aldon or any of the others out there, obviously you'll want to check these source members out to your library before making the recompile. But for right now, since I'm doing this interactively, the first thing I'm going to do is set my library list. And I use this using the modlibel command. Modlibel is a custom command, part of the project's 4i toolkit, where I can define a whole bunch of different library list codes and set up soft-coded the library lists for them. So I'm running this particular library list, which will create this for me. Of course, in your world, you're probably going to do an edit libel and set your library list up how you want. Okay, then we're going to start PDM. It's very difficult to decide what level to pitch these videos on, so I'm going to take it as if you know nothing, so don't be offended, but if you know what I'm talking about, great. If you don't, then you're learning something new. So start PDM. PDM, the Programming Development Manager, is a fantastic tool used every day by every IBM I programmer, I would say. It's so flexible, and it lets us work with any objects within any libraries, with any source members within any files. It lets us change, copy, delete, edit, do whatever we like. And beautifully, it lets us create user-defined options. So rather than taking the standard menu options, 2 to change, 4 to delete, 5 to display, we can create user-defined ones. So I could create an option for N for Nicholas that does something. So when I put an N next to something, it will run my command against it. It's pretty neat. So in this case, we need to work with our source members so we can recompile them. So we're going to do number 3. So it's start PDM number 3, work with members. Or we could enter the command directly, which is work member PDM. That's how I tend to do it. And what it says is, right, where do you want to work? Now, I know that all of my source is in a file called RPGLE source. Duh. Mine happens to be in this library name here. You're going to put your library name in. And if you want to subset by specific object types to pull up the source you want to work with, I know that all of my validation source for these edit grids starts with the letters V underscore, so I'm entering that. You can or can't on your code, depending. And boom, Here is all of my validation programs. These are individual programs that are attached to different Valence edit grids. As you can see, there's a lot of them, right? So to do all of those in one go, we can use a user-defined option. I could just do a 14 next to each one, excuse me, which is compile, but that wouldn't put the options in that's important. We have to do RPG pre-processing option * level 2 against our Valence code to compile it. And what that means is, when you're using a copybook, let's have a look at one of these programs just to show you quickly. This code couldn't get any easier, right? This is just a table maintenance edit grid. The only actual RPG code that I'm putting into this particular program is setting up a key file and account. Don't worry about the logic, just this is just how this one works. And then I'm pulling in the Valence header spec. I'm pulling in some custom declarations for this program. Then I'm pulling in the Valence variables and procedure names. Then it's doing some other stuff that's native for this machine. Then right at the end, I'm pulling in the Nitro App Builder procedures. So we've got two big blocks, we've had three. We've got the header spec, we've got the Valence values, variables, and sub-procedure definitions, or the calls to them. And then we've got the actual sub-procs themselves. Within those copybooks, things have changed. Within each of these copybooks, so VV-NAB-VAL, it may include or copy another copybook, and that included copybook might include copy another copybook. They can go down multiple layers. So let's go out and quickly prompt this up. So we go back to the PDM screen, put in a 14. So here we are with our prompted create SQL RPGI command. Yours could be create RPGLE, whatever command you want to run. As we page down through all the variables, we can see somewhere in here, oh, there it is. RPG preprocessor options, this value here. *none says just use the includes and copies as they stand. For Valence, as with this current release anyway, we want to enter level 2. So we want to enter that compile time parameter. Anyway, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to create a user-defined option. Now, if you look down at the command keys, the function keys down here, you can press F24 to scroll through them all. Oops. And when you press F24, you can see all the different function names that we're going to use. Okay, so these, what do they call it? PF key, print function, power function. I always call it a command key because I'm old school from the System 38 days. Anyway, so program function key 16, which is Shift F4 on your keyboard. Remember in the olden days we used to have, maybe you don't, the reason that the keys have these numbers is the keyboards like this would have two rows of function keys at the top. You'd have F1 to F12, and above that you'd have F13 to F24. And that's why you see these function keys in 5250. Before the AS400 in the System 3X days, those keys were called command keys. So it would be CMD1 through CMD12 and then CMD13 to CMD24. For some reason in the AS400 when that came out, they renamed command to be PF, which I think is program function. I'm not entirely sure. So now you'll see PF or F for those function keys. Either way, F16 is press Shift F2 on your keyboard. So it's 1 to 12, and Shift key becomes its 13 to 24. So Shift F2. Good God, F16 is Shift F4. My brain is falling to pieces. And what this shows us is our user-defined options. The location of this user-defined option file, because every programmer can have their own one, is defined in your user variable. So let's start with that. I'm going to press F12 to drop back. Here we are on our main PDM screen. I know that I want to create a user-defined option. If I press Shift F6, which is F18, it shows me my defaults. And in here it says, right, this is my option file. It defaults to QGPL everyone shares the same option file. If you wanted to create your own option file, so when you enter your options in, only you see them and you're not going to have anyone else treading on you and you won't be treading on anyone else, just go and take a copy of this file, QAUO opt from QGPL, and place it into your library. Copy file, put it in your library, and then change your library name to here. It's exactly what I've done. Now, from within the main code here, if I want to go and look at my user options, I just press F16, Shift F4, and here are my user options that I can do what I want with. User options are wonderful. They let us go and key in all different variables for run once commands. If you go up to the top and press F1, you get all this glorious help text, which tells you all of the stuff that's going on, what the function keys and everything, and how they work. So we're going to create one with a user option called VV, which means that rather than entering a 14 next to those previous options, we can put VV next to it. In the words of Blue Peter, here's one I created earlier. So what are we saying here? When we type VV next to something, what's the command we want it to run? I want it to run the create SQL RPGI. If you've got RPG programs, you could just put, create RPG, blah, 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 or create RPG module, or whatever you want it to be, right? Then we're going to prompt it up. Here's our substitution variables. Does it show substitution variables? I will put a lesson in one of the IBM Basics workshops going through PDM and what all of the substitution variables are. The main ones are &n, which says put in the name of the line that I've selected in PDM. &f, which is put in the file name, if applicable, for this line that I've selected in PDM. &l is put in the library name of the line that I've selected on this screen. And you've got $t for object type, and the list goes on and on and on. There's loads of different variables. Those are the main three you'll be using. NF and L, use it all the time. So what I'm saying is, whatever line I've selected, I want you to put that line's name in here. Because I'm looking at RPG source, that will be the RPG program name, right? Or the SQL RPG program name. Where do you want to compile it to? This is the target library that I'm going to compile this code to. What is the source file name where this source lives? I'm putting &f. That's the source file name for the line I've selected. What's the source file library? &l, pull in the source file library from the previous screen. Then I could put in all the variables that I want every single one of these occurrences of VV to put. So I'm saying, right, make sure that we haven't got commitment control turned on. Paging down to the next screen, I'm putting RPG pre-processing options * level 2. So whenever I do a VV against a line, it will substitute this command in and replace these variables pertinent to the line that I've selected. Let's see it in action, shall we? So if I just press enter, I'll drop back to the main PDM screen. If I put a VV here, when I press F4 on this, it will prompt up the create SQL RPG command, replacing the &n with the program name, the &f with the file name, and the &l with the library name. So if I do VV through all of them, each one will change for the different members. So let's just do one first of all. When I press F4 on it, look, it's substituted those variables nicely. And if I look at the full command, everything for this program, I can just press enter, scans it, compiles it, and it worked. Wow, that's super easy, right? So once you've got that value set up once, now I want to do all of them in one hit because I'm super lazy. So I'm going to do VV against one, and I'm then going to press Shift F1, which is F13, and this will repeat it through the entire list. So now it's pre-populated my user-defined option against every single source member in my list. Now if I just press enter, it will run through each one of those, substituting those values in. vArtist done, company done, contract done, Kirko done. So while I'm talking, it's recompiling every single one of these programs into my library, sucking in the latest version of the Valence code. Now, as you can see, just going in and doing this would have taken me seconds or maybe a minute max to run this compile. Instead, it's taken me 5 or 6 minutes to go through and explain it. Okay, now I know that these two will fail, vupdate and vvalidate, because these are actually work in progress right now. This is what the code that I'm working on today. that's it. That's everything recompiled. Now if I go back into the Valence app and I run one of the very, very simple update programs, this is just an edit grid for the formats command, formats file. If I go and edit one of these, when I press enter to do the update, in the background that has just called my v_formats program, which has validated that entry and returned back an OK, and it's definitely worked. And in my case, yeah, there it is, the format group quite happily run. So that's it, mass recompile. Waffling for way too long to go through some simple options, but if you're not familiar with PDM, hopefully that helps. PDM's super powerful, and Valence is super powerful too, so they both go together very well. Right, I'm going to shut up and drink my tea, which is still hot in my super cup. Go and buy one of these cups on Amazon. I should do an affiliate. I should make an affiliate link to sell them. Look at that. Oh, I feel like a Viking Norse god. I better stop.